I want us to take notice of current events always in order to understand how these algorithms of zodiac energies express themselves out into our reality. If you go back to the previous recent videos where I've been messaging about Pisces, Pallas, Athena, one of the first things I mentioned about Pisces, Pallas, Athena is the fact that what this introduces now is war strategies through art and expression. Counter actives off of artful expression. Using art to combat inappropriate power. I want you to let that settle. When you listen to my content, look for it. Look for it in your reality. Look for it around you. Look for what I'm explaining. Look for what I'm talking about. Look for what I'm suggesting. You have to look for it. Find it around you. It does no good if it's just some poetic feel-good talk. Can you see it around you that astrology is a way for us to track, confirm, articulate, anticipate the transfer between energy and manifest reality? Let me make the point. With the Super Bowl, and without getting into any politics or, specifics necessarily, I just want us to focus on the artful expression of Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena strategizes warfare. Okay? Now, warfare in what context? The context is always going to be the sign. Pisces. So this is war over the imagination and perception of the people. Warfare over the beliefs of the people. Warfare over who gets to romanticize the narrative, who gets to romanticize the opinions and perceptions of the people. The war in heaven. So if you look at the Super Bowl, Bad Bunny, Puerto Rican, Boricua, put the context together, okay, that we know, regardless of what your, political or social opinion may be, I'd rather a legal status immigrants should be here or not, or rather or not they should have to leave, or that doesn't make a difference. The point of humanity, what's the point of humanity? Remember, Cancer, Jupiter. All right? What's the basis of humanity and how we all, regardless of affiliations or convictions, what is the point of humanity about ICE agents? Okay? It's the fact that regardless of whether or not they're going to enforce the policy, rule, or law for migrants of illegal status to be here or not, it doesn't mean that their humanity should be violated. It doesn't mean that that their dignity should be overlooked. It doesn't mean that they should be oppressed in how it's carried out. It doesn't mean that they should not be treated with dignity and respect. It doesn't mean, you understand? So it doesn't mean that they should be oppressed, terrified, violated. and how they go about enforcing that rule. That's the real point, the real grievance that people have here. Okay, it's not so much about legal and illegal, status, as much as it is about how they're going about doing it. The abusive tactics, the insensitivity, the inhumanity, the arrogance, the narcissism, and the revival of traditional white male inappropriate power even since slavery times. Okay? So, with that being said, Bad Bunny has, recently been, insulted by the president of the United States. Okay, where he's making these tweets and jokes about, it's a disgrace how he, somebody who hates America or hates Americans, and it's always these assumptions with white males. Not all, okay? I'm not saying all, but what I'm saying is it is white males who tend to carry on this legacy of assumption that they are the only symbol of Americans, that they are what an American looks like, that the white male with 1776 and American flags all over his truck, 1776 t-shirts, that is the symbol of America, and it is the fuck not. Everybody is waking up in this world that white males have taken assumptions and entitlement to being the only symbol of what it means to be an American, and they could not be more contradictory. They could not be more hypocritical in their claims. And I'll show you how. Donald Trump, a descendant of monarchs and oligarchs, Donald Trump, a descendant of a long line of colonists who used violence in entering this continent, domination, tyranny, oppression, genocide, any type of crime against humanity you can name. That's the tradition he comes from, and forcing himself to be assumed as an American. He's as much an immigrant as everybody else who is not native to this land. The irony in the situation is that a Puerto Rican, a Boricua, is Taino Indian. That is a Taino, native, indigenous, aboriginal Indian. A Puerto Rican is more American than any white man could ever become. Because his blood is from this soil in its origin. The Taino and the Arawak Indian, which is actually from my native tribes on my grandfather's side, as my grandfather on my mother's side is from St. Croix. That makes me also a Taino and Arawak Indian. So when I say I'm indigenous, Native American, yes, I mean what the fuck I'm saying. On my father's side, I'm a Cherokee. On my mother's side, I'm Choctaw of the Mississippi regions. And through marriage on that side of the lineage, Nigerian. So yeah, I'm all of this shit that I'm talking about. He's a motherfucker that's not American. That's talking shit about the one who's the Aboriginal Indigenous American. And this is the audacity, the arrogance, the blindness, the hypocrisy, the upside down and backwardness of white males' assumptions traditionally and the legacy of United States America. The one who's the least American has the most entitlement to be assumed as the only symbol and standard of what it looks like to be an American. Bad Bunny is more American than any of them could ever be. I don't care how many red, white, and blue shirts they wear 1776 all over the pickup trucks. Them bitches still ain't as American as Bad Bunny or any Puerto Rican or Dominicans or Cubans. The whole Latino world of the West is more American than he will ever be. All Latinos of the West are more American than him. They speak Spanish because of Spaniard conquistadors. That's the illusion. They are called Puerto Ricans, the rich port. Dominicans are Arawaks. They are called. They are called these classifications and names. Haitians, African, and Arawak under French colonists. Central America, South America, North America, Hispanic people are more American than any white man could ever dream to be. And that is the irony of the situation. Because what are you really looking at? Are you looking when you see Bad Bunny and the artistry, okay, the artful expression at the Super Bowl? That was artful warfare because it transferred spirit from pains of the Pisces Saturn transit. What were the pains of the Pisces Saturn transit? Remember, Neptune was there all along. And with Neptune being there all along, it expresses foreigners. It expresses immigrants. It expresses international persons. It expresses maritime, international affairs, and national affairs. That's Pisces and Neptune. So as Saturn was passing through there, it was karmic crisis that we as a collective are passing through that coughs up, spits up, regurgitates the subconscious burdens, that exposes who's harboring guilt that they refuse to confess, who's coming to realizations of inappropriate powers and assumptions over others' identities in this nation, as Pisces is the concept of identity. Aries is a manifestation of identity, but with Neptune and Pisces, it's addressing the illusions of identity because of white men's assumptions over all people of the earth, obscuring who is who has right to what, whose estate and entitlement goes with what, whose forefathers have right to what. But white men assume control and access and entitlement to every fucking thing that they do not have a right to. It's assumptions and judgments. But they want to name everybody else who they are not. Just as myself, I'm not a fucking Negro. I'm not fucking black. I'm not colored. None of those are nationalities. I'm not African American. That is not a nationality. Every person deserves the right to stand under their own flag and banner as with a nationality, because everyone should have access to international law standing in the title of their nationality. But African Americans, so-called, are the only ones who do not have that right. And Filipinos have the same situation going on, for the same reasons. This timeline is about, among many things, it's about white men's assumptions and judgments over all people of this fucking world. They're inappropriate assumptions. Nigga, how the fuck is you talking shit about Bad Bunny in that particular context of who is American and who hates America? Nigga, first of all, this is Bad Bunny's land. This is Taino Indians' land. This is Arawak Indians' land. This is Choctaw Indians' land. This is Cherokee Indians' land. How the fuck can you tell them what they're hating about this nation? And nigga, their forefathers have absolute right and entitlement to the estate of this nation because it is their land. You're the motherfucker who's the guest here. You're the motherfucker who's the alien. You're the motherfucker who came here after everybody fucking got here. You came late, nigga. Stealing shit. Raping motherfuckers. Assigning false titles and lies and false narratives and false registries. Hiding and obscuring and layers of deception and lies and deceit everybody's fucking identity and story. This is so-called Black History Month. Just that title alone, Black. Who the fuck is Black? Who is that? What the fuck is Black? What nationality is that? There's no such thing as a black person. It's a social designation. A social designation that expresses oppressive intent and that black is subjugated to title of status of non-descent. Disconnecting from estate and identity. How the fuck that's gonna be celebrated? Call me what the fuck I am. Aboriginal, indigenous to this land. But that would turn the whole story upside down, wouldn't it? Bad Bunny manifested through art, through artful expression, through beauty, through music, all of these things. That's Pisces. Pallas Athena. It's a war strategy that confronted inappropriate powers and assumptions, the arrogance and hypocrisy of white males in this country, and the powers that be. And it transferred that conviction to all people who could receive it. And that is a powerful chess move. And I wanted to use that as an example that warfare can be waged through art. Art is a powerful weapon. It is a powerful weapon. That's how hip-hop was able to destroy the black community. That's how movies are able to, transfer to people identities that are not true or authentic of them. Art is more powerful than anything. It is the most powerful and effective weapon. And that goes to say, or goes to show, that Mars and Venus, they both have their own weapons. Venus doesn't fight like Mars, but it doesn't mean it's defenseless. And this is part of the illusion also of the male principle and the female principle. Oh, there's the assumption, quote unquote. Females are so helpless. They're damsels in distress. Protect all females, yada, yada, yada. Yes, we should protect females in this society. That's a matriarchal obligation. But she's not defenseless. She's not harmless. Women do have the capability to fuck your world up. They do have the ability to fuck your shit up. They do have the ability to do tremendous harm to a person, to a society. They are not defenseless. Venus is not defensive. Venus has his knife behind his back. Mars has his knife in front of his body. That's the difference. You don't see Venus's weapon because it's hidden under the magic of beauty. It's hidden under the magic of sexual attraction, of glitter, of lights, of sensuality. It's a dagger under a feather. It's the talon under the snow owl's, foot, the claw. It has all the feather, the down feather around it. You can't even see the claw. But that motherfucker will pierce your flesh. Mars will go to war with you. Venus will go to war with you. They would just go to war with you in different ways. Mars attacks the body. Venus attacks the reputation. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. Don't overlook. You know what I mean? I be trying to show y'all. Don't overlook the details, man. Take notes. When you listen to my content, take notes. Try to, break it down and assimilate it. You can't miss these details. It's very important because it lets you know what you could do as well. This should be insight for you. That through expression, through personal expression, you can fight back. Through artful expression, you can fight back. This could be through fashion, you can fight back. Through music, you can fight back. Visibility in your expression, you can fight back. And this also goes to importance of knowing your identity through the illusions, getting to the real person, the actual person, correction of status. I'm demonstrating proper status. I'm demonstrating proper claim or true claim of identity when I point out to you the illusion of calling Bad Bunny a Puerto Rican. In truth, he's a Taino Indian. In truth, that's what he is. He's a Taino Indian. Just like a Dominican. You may say, we all know Dominicans love to say, oh, I know black, I Dominican. Okay? We get on Dominicans about that. But in all truth, all jokes aside, they're actually right. Because nobody's black. They're also not Dominican. They're Arawak. Jamaicans are Arawak and Maroon. We call them Jamaican, but they're Arawak and Maroon. So we got to get past the illusions and get to the real person, because when you get to the real person, white men's lies, deceit, tricks, assumptions, false judgments, false narratives, it all goes away. It's exposed. And you're looking at the truth. You're looking at the reality of the situation. And guess what? Their power rests upon those illusions. Their power, their false power rests upon assumptions and agreements to those false assumptions. And when you can get past that, you can see who it really is. You pluck the feathers off the chicken and he's sitting there shivering. You cut the mane of the lion. You get to the end of the yellow brick road and you see that the Wizard of Oz is this little motherfucker behind there with a microphone, trying to intimidate people with a loud voice.